The starship Eclipse drifted silently through the void, its hull glinting faintly under the light of a distant sun. Inside, the air was thick with tension. Zara, a Xeltharian scout, lay on the medical table, her luminescent blue skin dulled by pain. Her arm was twisted at an unnatural angle, the bone clearly fractured. She hissed through her sharp, crystalline teeth, her 4 eyes wide with a mixture of fear and confusion. Standing over her was Lieutenant Marcus Hale, a human medic from the United Earth Coalition. His brow was furrowed in concentration as he examined her injury. Zara had never been this close to a human before. Their reputation for resilience and adaptability was well known across the galaxy, but she had always dismissed it as exaggeration. Now, as she lay vulnerable before him, she couldn't help but feel a strange mix of awe and apprehension. "This is going to hurt," Marcus said, his voice calm but firm. He spoke in Galactic Common, the universal language, though his accent was rough and guttural compared to the melodic tones of Zara's native tongue. Zara's frilled ears twitched. "What are you going to do?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I need to set the bone back in place," Marcus explained, his hands moving with practiced precision as he prepared a splint and bandages. "If I don't, it'll heal wrong and you'll lose function in your arm." Zara's primary eyes narrowed, while her secondary set blinked rapidly, a sign of distress among her kind. "Set the bone? You mean, you're going to force it back into alignment?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, it's the only way." Zara's mind raced. On her homeworld, such injuries were treated with advanced biogel and nanotech. The idea of manually manipulating a broken bone was barbaric, almost unthinkable. Yet here she was, light years away from Xelthar, stranded on a human vessel with no other options. Do you have any pain suppressants?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus hesitated. "We do, but they're designed for human physiology. I'm not sure how they'll affect you. It's safer if you just bear through it." Zara's frills flattened against her skull, a sign of deep unease. "Humans endure this kind of pain regularly." Marcus gave her a small, reassuring smile. "We're tougher than we look." Before Zara could protest further, Marcus took hold of her arm. His grip was firm but gentle. She tensed, her body instinctively recoiling, but he held her steady. "Ready?" he asked. Zara didn't respond. She couldn't. Her mind was a whirlwind of fear and disbelief. How could this human, this soft-skinned, fragile-looking creature, be so calm in the face of such brutality? Then it happened. With a swift, practiced motion, Marcus snapped the bone back into place. Zara's entire body jerked, and a sharp, guttural cry escaped her lips. Her secondary eyes shut tightly, while her primary ones widened in shock. The pain was unlike anything she had ever experienced, a searing, white-hot agony that seemed to radiate through her entire being. But just as quickly as it had come, the pain began to subside. Marcus worked efficiently, securing the splint and wrapping the injury with bandages. Zara's breathing was ragged, her chest rising and falling rapidly as she tried to process what had just happened. "It's done," Marcus said, stepping back to admire his handiwork. "You'll need to keep it immobilized for a few weeks, but it should heal properly." Zara stared at him, her mind struggling to reconcile the kindness in his voice with the brutality of his actions. How can you do that so casually?" she asked, her voice shaking. Marcus tilted his head, confused. "Do what?" "Inflict such pain without hesitation," Zara clarified. "On my world, such practices are considered archaic, even cruel. Yet you did it without flinching." Marcus chuckled softly. "It's not about enjoying the pain. It's about doing what needs to be done to help someone. Pain is temporary, but a lifetime of disability isn't. Zara fell silent, her mind racing. She had always viewed humans as primitive, their lack of advanced technology a sign of inferiority. But now she was beginning to see them in a new light. Their resilience, their willingness to endure pain for the sake of others. It was something she had never encountered before. Over the next few weeks, Zara remained aboard the Eclipse as her arm healed. During that time, she observed the humans closely. She watched as they worked tirelessly to repair the ship's damaged systems, their hands calloused and scarred from years of hard labor. She listened to their stories of survival and perseverance, tales of overcoming impossible odds through sheer determination. And she began to understand. Humans weren't primitive. They were adaptable. They didn't rely on advanced technology because they didn't need to. They had something far more powerful, an unyielding spirit, a refusal to back down in the face of adversity. One evening, as the ship's artificial lights dimmed to simulate night, Zara found herself sitting with Marcus in the mess hall. Her arm was nearly healed, the splint removed, and she felt stronger than ever. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice carrying a newfound respect. Marcus looked up from his meal, surprised. "For what?" "For helping me," Zara replied. "And for showing me what it truly means to be human." Marcus smiled, his eyes warm. "You're welcome, Zara. But you're pretty tough yourself. Not many people could handle what you went through." Zara's frills fluttered, a sign of amusement among her kind. "Perhaps I've learned a thing or two from you humans." As the days turned into weeks, Zara's perspective continued to shift. She began to see the humans not as primitive beings, but as kindred spirits, creatures who, despite their flaws, possessed a strength and resilience that was truly remarkable. When the time came for her to return to her own people, Zara felt a pang of sadness. She had grown fond of the humans, especially Marcus. As she stood at the airlock, ready to board the shuttle that would take her home, she turned to him one last time. "I will never forget what you've taught me," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. Marcus nodded, his expression solemn. "Take care of yourself, Zara. And remember, no matter how far apart we are, we're all in this together." With that, Zara stepped onto the shuttle, her heart heavy but her spirit uplifted. As the doors closed and the shuttle departed, she knew that her encounter with the humans had changed her forever. And as the eclipse faded into the distance, Zara made a silent vow. She would carry the lessons she had learned back to her people, and perhaps in doing so, bridge the gap between their two species. For in the end, it wasn't technology or strength that defined a species. It was their ability to endure, to adapt, and to care for one another. And in that, humans were truly extraordinary.